before I let you go, I wanted to touch on, I mean, since you're in Charleston, the significance of what took place 5 years ago at Mother Emanuel Church. We both had somewhat of a connection with Reverend Clementa Pinckney. And from what I'm hearing, that situation sort of changed your course of research.
Yeah, without a doubt. I like to say that Reverend Dr. Pinckney was Barack Obama before we knew who he was in South Carolina. My mom ran a high school program that he was a part of. So from the time I was really young, I knew about him. I had a hard time pronouncing his name as a kid, but he was someone who was kind of like an example of what we could do, or who we could be. I remember that he was a young preacher. He got into the State House at a young age.
Yeah, 23. Yeah. I remember. I was, so this is how I know him. I was interning at WJWJ TV in
Nice.
Beaufort, South Carolina.
WJ.
And yes.
Yeah.
And he was running for a local office in Jasper County, South Carolina. And, we did an interview with him. And he was like 23 years old, wise, well beyond his years. And I was impressed. And then on the local radio stations, you would hear his ads, and all you could hear from Mrs. Galloway, who ran the radio station at the time, was Reverend Clementa Pinckney. Reverend Clementa Pinckney. That's all you could hear the entire ad. And it sticks with you 25 years later. So yeah, that's how I remember Reverend Pinckney.
Well, you can imagine being a kid and seeing that image. I think that representation matters. And there's a way in which when you see examples of who you can be, it sticks with you from an early age. That's one reason why I'm such a big proponent of art, because art, particularly African-American art, allows for us to have examples and an opportunity to really see reflections of our traditions and our experiences that hopefully will empower and inspire us for the future. So knowing him and seeing him as a kid really had a profound impact on me. And my mom was really intent that I would be on track to understand what it meant to be a 23-year-old, state representative, or, whatever he was doing. I remember when he graduated from college and all the above. So you might imagine how I felt the night of the shooting. I was at home. Actually, no, well, Charleston is home, but I was with my aunt, also my godmother in Charleston. And, I just remember we were watching TV together, and she got a phone call, and we changed the channel where they're doing a live,
cutting.
Yeah, from downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And the story was unfolding before our eyes. And I remember reaching out to my friend whose father and mother were at the church an hour before the shooting happened. And he was saying that, despite what you hear on TV, it's far worse. Because at the time, no one was reported dead, and we didn't know what was actually going on. And, I get kind of emotional thinking about it because so much of my life has been lived with a commitment to service. I went to divinity school, and I've taught Bible study and Sunday school more times than I can name. So the fact that he was murdered, particularly serving in a context that was really familiar to me, in a place where I've always felt safe, really was really tough. And the fact that this was yet another example of racial terror for us to really be reminded of in our country was also profound in the Southern context. So I think that, I've always, I don't know, it's a tough thing to really grapple with that really has impacted me today. But at the time, I shifted my research to really explore contemporary Gullah Geechee identity in the wake of the shooting, because it was a way for me to not only process my own grief, but to also make sense of something that to this day remains really hard to grapple with.
Yes, I mean, I've been to Charleston a few times since then, and yeah, I'm not trying to visit the site at all. I'm staying away. Like I said, prayers to the families of those that we lost, and the healing continues.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think that's one reason why this institution means so much because, you know, it's a place of a great level of it's a heavy topic that we do broach. We also want to be a place of healing. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think that, you know, if we do our job right, people will have both the conviction from the experience, but also walk away with a level of peace by virtue of just the space we offer for just contemplation and everything beyond.